to docs or not to docs? We're going to be talking about KYC, and I need to know if you could raise your hand if you are familiar with what KYC means. Okay. So, well, I think it's worth saying because it's more or less like 60-40, 60 knowing, 40 not knowing percent. So KYC stands for Know Your Customer and is a policy to store data about Bitcoin buyers or anything else, but in this case, Bitcoin buyers and sellers that is pushed by regulators to the on and off ramps, basically to control. As a way of introducing yourself, I would like to know what's your stand about KYC. What do you think about it? And also if you have any kind of relationship with it, with what you do in your daily life. Who wants to start?
KYC is bad.
Strong.
KYC is bad.
KYC is what?
Bad.
Bad. Okay.
That's a statement. It's said.
Okay. Can you introduce who you are and what do you do in relation with KYC?
I'm regular Satoshi. I am the maintainer of the RoboSats code base. And RoboSats is a platform that will allow you to very privately buy and sell Bitcoin without giving private information. Hopefully like everyone else here, right?
Adam?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you go back to why we are here, Bitcoin and all, just the title peer-to-peer, right? I mean, on its own, we shouldn't have been even talking about KYC and all, but the world is a bit different and sometimes you need to play with the rules. So I can come back to the details and all, but I think it goes back also to the panel yesterday about centralized and decentralized exchanges and all, and that there are two extremes, literally no KYC at all, and then full KYC. And I think there is a balance, and it depends on what you really want from your life.
Okay. So you open like a topic. I will want to touch on it in a moment. That is, it's not such a thing as KYC or not KYC, but there is also some grays in between. This is basically what you put on the table, right? Okay, we'll get back to that. Javier?
Well, I'm against KYC, but I do work with a company that is Bitfinex that do KYC. So it's like strange in a way because in my personal work, I push people to try to go to LMP, the bot that Francisco created, or Robosat, or Mostro, or try BISC, or whatever non-KYC thing that they can like work on. But at the end, it's if you are trading or you are expecting returns and stuff like that, it will be easier for you to go to a KYC centralized platform. So it's like, yes, there are grays in between, but I'm against KYC by myself. Like I'm never will push people to, yes, come to us and trade with us. Like if you want to, you need to know what are you going to trade and that you are leaving your privacy behind. And then if it hits the fan, you already doxed yourself to the authorities. So,
Leo?
I'm completely against KYC. I mean, that's why I'm a contributor for BISC. I think in general, we all agree as Bitcoiners that KYC ends up in a bad road. I think we have examples all over the world where there is in Hong Kong with the demonstrations that they were catching people that went to the protest through they're paying their Metro card because they cut the streets so that they didn't allow any cars to get in. We have examples in Canada with the truck drivers. We have over and over again, we realize that there is leaks of information. Only recently in Spain with the Spanish IRS, a lot of information was leaked. It happens over and over again. So I think we all agree privacy is key. Privacy is needed in order to be a sovereign individual. And I definitely think that there is no middle ground. There's either KYC or there's no KYC. I think soft KYC is just a lame way of saying that they are doing KYC. So I think I understand that there has to be in some cases because there's no other option because it has it's maybe more viable because there's some restrictions, and so there may be no other option, right? As you were saying, but we can't, misguide people into thinking that is the ultimate goal. Like the ultimate goal is privacy. That's the only way to defend yourself, and that's up to you to decide if you want to be private or you don't want to be private.
Adem was, yeah. It's good for Leo. Adem, we were opening this topic. I don't even know if it's a topic or a Pandora box about saying there is such a thing as a gray in between KYC and no KYC. What would that gray be?
Well, I think it really depends on your situation. So I think it's a bit too extreme to say there is just no KYC and that KYC, it's just two extremes. Because in a way, I mean, and I agree that there is nothing like soft or light KYC. That's a very good point that Leo mentioned. Sometimes so we have users that are non-KYC and KYC, but even then I don't call them non-KYC. As soon as you start using the current financial system, you have a bank account, you're KYC, that's it. There is nothing in between. So that we agree that it's, this is the way. But then it really depends on how you want to achieve or how you want to get this Bitcoin. And again, there are ways where you could get them in a completely non-KYC way, in a completely decentralized way. You just need to, quote-unquote, pay the price for it. That's what they call a premium, and that's totally fine. But what we try to build at Relay is to reach out to what they call mass adoption, or more and more people, onboard more and more people to Bitcoin, make sure they can get easily to Bitcoin. And unfortunately, as soon as you start mentioning easy, there is no easy way today. I mean, there is for us here, Bitcoiners, there are easy ways to get non-KYC Bitcoin. But when you go out of this conference, for example, out there in the world, it's tricky. And I wish there were more solutions to make it even more accessible.
I think one reason there is not more solutions is because very few people work on it, right? A lot of people work on KYC solutions, huge amount of resources on that, very few peace contributors. And easily this could improve way more only by putting the resources into it. I still need to understand for this gray area that you mentioned, in this trade-off between KYC and loss of privacy and private, what's the advantage of being in the middle?
The advantage of being in the middle between KYC and non-KYC. Well, the advantage today is being able to instantly get some sats, for example, while you're just sitting in the for someone who doesn't know about how Bitcoin works, is not needing to know how it works and get it, I would say, easily or fast.
But losing the privacy anyway, right? I mean, you can do that at, let's say, at Bitfinex, you could also do that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in terms of privacy, security, there is no question, right? It's either you're there and you're private and secure, or you're not. This there is maybe no real gray zone, but what I mention is for people who are living in the current system, in the current financial system, they are already fully KYC, like deep KYC. And for them to access Bitcoin, there is really no easy way to get out of it. And I agree with you, it's just based on the resources that we put in KYC between no KYC. For us, we started the journey with making Bitcoin easy, whatever that means, but we didn't initially consider KYC, no KYC, because actually it's making easy for already KYC users.
So just to understand, so this in-between point would be soft KYC, or without having to go through a process of KYC, but being there some information that can be tracked and stored?
It's one of them, because if you consider soft KYC, you don't need to go as deep as giving your ID, your address, and all these things. But you give your bank account, which is also linked to your information at the bank.
I would like to read a sentence that when he mentioned in Riga, it struck me. It was 1 year ago. It's a sentence of Giacomo. I saw him before. I don't know if he's still here, but it's a very good one. He said that KYC is an example of economic illiteracy because KYC laws mean you don't understand economics. The purpose of money is so you don't have to know your customer. My question here is, I fully agree with Giacomo. Like money is, we needed money the moment that we expanded the number of people we knew, and we needed to relate with people we don't know. So that's why we started using money. With the mission of Bitcoin, or the idea of Bitcoin as a peer-to-peer cash without intermediaries, is KYC somehow killing Bitcoin?
It's difficult to say, because I think in some way yes, because you are putting an intermediary that has critical information about the users in the middle of something that really doesn't need that. But in the other hand, you have plenty of options that still don't require that information. But if the KYC movement or the KYC products grows big enough to be captured, that's a risk. And I don't know if their influence is big enough, Bitcoin could survive to that taking. But in the other hand, you still can run your own node and you still can like transact directly over the layer one. So if the expansion of these controls, this KYC shit continues, it obviously is a danger place where we are going. And it reminds us of the gold thing in the state, the 6102 order. So obviously we already had like the history of this kind of problems that giving away information has, but at the same time you have a protocol, a technology that is resilient. So it's like, yes, but maybe we can have a shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, the message is very clear. Like, iron gold is no KYC because that is what real money is. That's what guarantees your property rights. And that's the real message out there. I think it was the CEO of Kraken that was saying, look, I can say it openly. If you have Bitcoin on Kraken, that is not your Bitcoin. And I can say that freely. And I can say that because I have to be compliant with regulation. So if tomorrow they come knocking on my door and they said, give me such and such paper, I have to be compliant. Therefore, do your work, use our platform if you want to. We have some advantages with respect to other platforms. We have some disadvantages. We can't be untruthful. We have to be honest. And this is not your Bitcoin. So I think that is the most important message, and there can never be any doubt about that. And there can never be any doubt in which is our main objective and what we're fighting towards. And I think so, and I do get that it may be a transition, and that you can't just like expect like all of a sudden to onboard everyone and, you know, live in this, you know, fantasy world. But we have to work in that direction. Like there's no some in between to like make more money while. And then all these bankruptcies or whatever, like every year we have a big exchange that goes bankrupt, right? They custody your money. You know, we know what happens with information when it's centralized. We know what happens with money when it's centralized. So, I mean, we should be learning from our mistakes, and we should definitely be working in that direction. There can be no doubt, like in the narrative.
I totally agree. And that's where we are, that's the future we are all dreaming about. That's where we all want to go. But I think we are missing a step, that the gap is so big. Like there is a gap.
But should it be working to make that gap smaller?
I agree. It's all part of education and holding their hands so that we can bring them up here, right? The problem is we try to hold their hands, but they're down there, like so down we don't even see them. Then we need a few more tools to get closer and closer to them. And the more we bring them up, and then we get rid of these tools. For example, we are an audited company, we have to comply with some shitty rules. But at the same time, we do our best so that at least they know what a non-custodial wallet is. We do our best to get them to stack to external wallet. But unfortunately, we still need to play the KYC rules from currently. Doesn't mean we want to stay that way. And I agree, that's actually the ideal case scenario. That's the ideal future we are all dreaming about. But there is a long way until we reach there. And I feel like if we completely ignore what is in the real world, we let them a bit on the side. It goes back to also the toxic maxi discussion we had a bit earlier, right? It's fine, and we need to be there. We need to be strict with what we want. That's why we are all here. But there is also a transition that we play a big role in the transition phase as well.
I mean, there may be, but at one point you have to decide. Like, it's either KYC or no KYC. And the message has to be clear.
I think if you rely on the permission of your regulators or your wherever you operate to decide whether you can do something or not, you're never gonna get to the point where you get more privacy. Or I think actually for your companies at that end, ultimately, the rules are gonna be so constraining over time that you will have to shut down. And that will be already a huge problem, right? Because you made your users learn your tool, and one day your tool will not be there, for example, right? So it's time now to start building the tools that will not be shut down or not so easily shut down.
And we are doing our best to fight that. I mean, it's not that we are just like, oh, come at us and we accept whatever they put out there, right? Especially, for example, so we are in a small country, Switzerland, where there is a strong Bitcoin community. And whenever there is some new legislation, whatever they want to put in, we really fight back. It's not that we are not there. But if I wanted to bring, and I did bring my dad or my mom to Bitcoin, I don't have many options. They don't have many options. I'm not saying this is the best way. I'm just saying we need to go through it. And you might be right. I mean, we might come just because we let them still some place, so they have some room. Now Mika is coming, for example, even worse legislation. We do our best. Sometimes we can't even fight back. Are we happy? Not at all. Not at all. But we believe that we are still playing our role in holding their hands and bringing them from here to there. Maybe it won't happen because we're just going down a bad way. But I believe currently this is the only solution.
I want to touch on something because before you were explaining this story about Kraken, and people might be confused or mix KYC with custody. It's completely different things. I think that we all agree that self-custody is a must. What we're discussing here is how do you get your coins and what information do you share meanwhile doing that. And we know that digital information is permanent forever. Meanwhile, it's stored properly. And my question now would be, because you talk about adoption, and I think that in the name of adoption, we do a lot of things. Are we gonna regret trying to be so fast in adoption? Like, is it gonna be worth storing such amount of information of Bitcoin holders? Now, Bitcoin is 60K, and we think it's a lot, or maybe after the last 3 years, some people might think it's a lot, but a lot of people is giving away information very cheaply that maybe in the future is a big danger. We know the problems that the family of Halfini has, of harassment, and all early Bitcoin developers have for the same. People believe that they have a lot of Bitcoin and they are harassed. So is it worth the price that we will have to pay for the rush in adoption?
Well, rushed in, it depends, right? For some, it's not enough. For some, it's rushed in. Maybe we are doing too much already. Why do we care about adoption? Or why is not everybody already using Bitcoin? I mean, there will be bad decisions made on the way, that's for sure. But you also said maybe, right? You will never really know how things are going. And ideally, adoption should just come out of necessity. But again, shall we just sit and wait for people to something to happen so that they realize, oh, I really need Bitcoin. How do I get it? Because if you really need it, you will get a way to get your sats. KYC, no KYC, custody, no custody, you will find your way. It looks like we are rushing it because we are giving them some easier tools. We are convincing them, but are we really? I mean, it's on us also to know where we are heading, but it's also a tricky question because I guess we will never know.
I would argue that we all want more freedom from an individual perspective, but also if you are building individual freedom and you live in a society, you would like to expand that. So it works in that regard. Like obviously all the efforts that platforms or companies or people are trying to do to get more people not into buying, not into getting the Bitcoin, but at least to have the opportunity to get it, that works. But obviously you have to take in mind the risk that you are taking them to have, because if you are creating a new Bitfinex, a new platform that is centralized, that have full KYC, that all that, and you feel that you are doing only good, and you could have the best intentions in the world, but at the end your product could fuck a lot of people. So yes, it's obviously I want more Venezuelans to use Bitcoin, and that's why I started doing meetups and all this stuff. But when you are in the reality, you see that they don't care at all about it, even in the perfect scenario, even with the necessity of having something that is censorship resistant like Bitcoin. But then from a company perspective, for a business perspective, when you are building your stuff, you have to take that trade-off in mind. Like, would I want my mom to operate with me and be in problems because she gave my company all the information? But it's my mom. I want the best for my mom. I want her to hold Bitcoin. She doesn't have. I want. But in the end, it's like, what tools are we building to give that access to Bitcoin? And I think that we are trying to rush sometimes the adoption, because as he said, it's all about necessity. I started using Bitcoin because I needed something like that. And when I found it, it was, oh, okay, this is what I needed. But not everybody's going to do that. And I think that we don't really need people to come to the easiest platform and easy way to take the sats, but they should be convinced by themselves, like the necessity convince you that, okay, I need the Bitcoins.
Okay, so no, I listening to you, I think that what we are lacking is a little bit more information of the risks of KYC that some people is not aware, and it's some platforms, it's very easy to get that Bitcoin and you don't know what you are really giving away, or you don't know the consequences that can have, because all the information, like KYC is related with government, but I like to call it like HKYC, no? Like hackers will know your customer at some point. So this is maybe a knowledge that is not well spread, and maybe if you know the risks, you can choose go KYC, and if you don't, that's where the problem lays. We're running out of time, so I would like maybe if you wanna like say your final words in regards to KYC and with a tip or an advice.
Yeah, I think so. Is it they have to hold your information for like 4 or 5 years? Yeah. I would say just, I mean, privacy is linked with property rights, and study your options. There's plenty of no KYC options out there to get your Bitcoin, and so do your homework.
Yeah, I would say that one of the beauties of Bitcoin is that we're using pretty complex math to hide our Bitcoin in a universe of numbers. So please don't attach your home address and your full name to it.
You said it very well. Know the risks. I think we're not talking about the risks enough. It's all about education as well, and then comes back to necessity. So just learn more about it and be aware. When you take any action, just be aware that if it's not clearly non-KYC, non-custodial, there is obviously something behind, and just there are options, know the options, and just decide on that based on your understanding of how Bitcoin works.
If you have the option, don't use any KYC centralized platform. And if you need to, let's do your homework and learn what are you giving away.
I'm going to add the last one. Bitcoin without KYC is a superpower. So think about it before what you want. Do you want the superpower, or do you just want a speculative asset? That's it. Thank you. Woo.